without your supervision. Now, of course, you still have financials, and at the end of the month, something looks out of whack, you can go check it out. Now, underneath of that, this is where having kind of clear scorecards and KPIs around these things help, because if we're going to unlock some sort of decision tree, we want to also make sure that it's unlocking some sort of value. And so I'll give you a really powerful frame that you can talk to anybody in the business with. You can say, how do you, in your role, make the company money? It sounds like a very simple question. Like people should be able to know how the business works, especially as it relates to their job. If you ask this to your team today, many of them will not know the answer to that question. And that will frighten you. But fundamentally, like some of them are easy. Sales, people come in and I get them to give us money. And if they give us money, we make more money, right? That makes sense. Great job. Okay. But then you have some ancillary roles. Like what does finance say? What does tech say? What does media say? What does marketing? So of course, marketing is something that generates money, but you don't do marketing. What do you do? I hold the camera. Okay. So then what ways do you make us money? Not the marketing function. This is where it gets more interesting. So if I had this camera person and he or she, right? Slow down. He or she holds the camera. I say, all right, what does bad camera work do? Well, bad camera work would be a waste of time, right? Of the entire team. Number two, the media would perform not as well because it would be off center or, it would just, the lighting would be off, whatever the hell, right? On top of that, we'd waste the footage. We'd probably have equipment that would be ill-fitted. We wouldn't save the stuff that we'd have. All of these are huge cost centers. And so you can reverse each of these kind of potential mistakes into these are the things that we have to make. What percentage of the time was everything saved correctly? Was it named correctly in the system? Saved to the correct drive? Time-stamped appropriately? The lighting and or camera was set up correctly and it was on time so we could start at the time we said we were going to. If that's 100% of the time, it's like, dude, you're making us money and here's how. And I think that when people have the understanding of how what they do relates to how the company makes money, it gives more meaning to like what impact. People are like, I wish I had more impact. Like if you have a job in a company, you have an impact. You probably just don't know what the impact is. And so decide and explaining that to somebody, I think is a very big unlock because they see the value that their role provides in the overall work. All right. Now, before you have this, because again, we're trying to replace ourselves here. We have our little scorecard. We have our KPIs. Let's say you were the camera guy, right? The next thing is we have to have some sort of test to graduate the person, which is can someone, 80% is you, get 100% of the result? And the key learning that I had, this is a belief that I had to have broken, was that number one, no one's going to ever be able to do it as well as you. Not true. No one's going to be able to do it as well as you with 1/10 of the work, with 1/10 of the practice or reps, but every human is replaceable, in my opinion. And we know that because humans have replaced all humans.